This program is sponsored by Ford and PlayStation 2, UEFA Champions League sponsors.
The Champions League is back, and tonight we do have the champions of England and Germany here at Fortress Highbury.
Oh, just wonderful. That is fantastic.
French qualifiers Auxerre and PSV Eindhoven make up the rest of Group A, but tonight the Bundesliga champions face England's finest. It's Arsenal against Borussia Dortmund here live from Highbury. Good evening from North London as Europe's elite start out on their Champions League journey, a journey that could end up 200 miles up the road from here at Old Trafford. With me to watch the Gunners step out on that road are Barry Venison and Robbie Earle. Before we go on to the general topic of the Champions League and Arsenal's progress in it, the interesting team news tonight is that Freddie Ljungberg plays his first match of the season and starts for Arsenal.
It's incredible because he had an operation not too long ago, but if you see the shots in the newspaper and you see him in a warm, he is in great shape. Now, obviously he's in great shape in terms of conditioning, his match fitness. He's only played one reserve game, but the fact that Arsene Wenger has brought him back is a credit to him and his attitude. But having said that, I think he had limited options because Edu was out injured, and the other way he could have brought in a young lad, Torre, which I think would have been a gamble with a game of this magnitude. But Freddie, with his goals and the way he can get forward from midfield, you've got to put him in.
Robbie, that's the side. Without Ljungberg, it wasn't bad. With Ljungberg, it's even better.
It is, and I just think Wenger wouldn't have risked Ljungberg unless he's sure that he can get through maybe an hour of the game. If it's a risk, Freddie Ljungberg's too important to Arsenal Football Club, as we saw all last season, for him to throw him in. So I know personally they've had a couple of behind closed doors games as well to get him some match fitness. Whether he can get to this level of fitness, who knows? But, you know, he will add and lift the place. I mean, maybe it's just cute management again by Arsene Wenger.
They hardly needed a boost, but this is a boost for them.
How can you get the boost when you're right at the top of the biggest tower? They're on Mount Everest. Where they're going to go? Helicopters are coming. They are absolutely flying, and it'll not be a problem. Even if they've got to carry Freddie a little bit because of his lack of match fitness, I think it's not a problem for this team. The way they're playing, the confidence, and it's a word that we use all the time. But the biggest thing for me with Arsenal this season, which is different from other seasons, is an absolute belief that the Champions League is going to be theirs. I think last season they didn't have that, and I think this season they've got it.
But they did do it in the Premiership. Can they do it in Europe, Robbie?
It is another step up. I mean, they are now going into Premiership games, and I used the word last night, purring. They're cruising through games. You can't cruise at this level of football. It is a step up, whatever the opposition, and they now have to show that they can make the next step. Not necessarily as here as we know the record, but at times away from home. But you've still got to put your marker down. Whatever it is, put your marker down. Show people that, you know, they talk that they now can dispose Real Madrid. Let's see tonight.
First ever visit for Borussia Dortmund to Highbury. They haven't had the best starts to the season, plenty of draws.
Yeah, but they won the Bundesliga last season. We know Matthias Sammer is a very shrewd coach. They're going to be very physical, they're going to be switched on, they're going to come in, and I think they're going to attack Arsenal. They've got a lot of pace in the side. The way they're set up is going to make it difficult. And although it's set out, the German side now, especially Borussia Dortmund, they'll not be rigid. They've got their own rules, and with the power and the pace they've got the big guy up front, Kohler, who is going to be a handful for Keown and Campbell. Whichever way they play him, it's going to be difficult tonight. I think the important thing is not to try to win the ball because the guy's 6'8", for goodness sake. But it's important for the wide men to stop the cross, to stop the service into him, and also pick up the runners from midfield, which is where their pace is.
Do you think that Arsenal have moved into a sphere, though, where they're almost not worried by the opposition?
Yeah.
They are so confident.
I think you're spot on. I think now they don't worry about the opposition. I think the team sheet will be there and you'll be detailed as you are in the dressing room. You pick up. But I don't think they'll be too concerned with the way they're going to set out and the way they're going to play. Arsenal Football Club and the way Arsene Wenger's running it now, it's all about themselves. If they do what they do best, they believe they'll win the game.
And what they do best is score goals.
What they do best is score goals and break with pace, and they've got that power to come through from midfield now with Freddie Ljungberg and the pace up front. But having said that, there's two parts of the game: when you've got the ball and when you haven't got the ball. So when they've got the ball, they're thoroughly enjoying themselves. But the thing about Arsenal at the minute is the concentration levels are so high. They're not getting caught in behind. Everybody's doing the job without the ball, and that needs to be maintained tonight.
All right. Well, Arsenal's finest run in the Champions League 2 seasons ago was halted in the quarter-finals out in Valencia, and that's where Liverpool, themselves quarter-finalists last season, start this year in the Champions League. It's a game you can see live on ITV1. It's a match being watched by Ron Atkinson and Gary Newbon.
Liverpool make changes up front tonight. Diouf plays. Barosh, who made his debut and scored 2 goals on Saturday, doesn't. He's on the substitute bench with Michael Owen. What do you think of that team news, Ron Atkinson?
I'm surprised. I personally would have gone for Barosh because he looked on fire on Saturday against Bolton. I wonder what Michael Owen must be thinking, because obviously if he thought Barosh was coming out, he probably would have expected to have played. How far down the pecking order does that put him?
Yeah.
Diouf, El Hadji Diouf, no complaints. I think he's a very good player. Whether Gerard Houllier is going to go for one up front in play El Hadji Diouf up there, he's got Heskey that he can play up alongside him, or indeed Heskey can go and play in a wide area. You know, they may pack the midfield and say go sort of 5 men in midfield, because they'll want to come out of this result. They'll want to come out of this match with a solid result.
Okay, well, Valencia, the Spanish champions, have never lost a European Champions League match here. They've never conceded a goal to an English team in this competition. Will it be different tonight?
Always hard to break down. They've got 3 of the old back 4 still there. They're solid at the back. They have, for me, the best keeper, Canizares. I think he's the best keeper in Spain. So they are strong at the back. Just got to fancy tonight, though, Liverpool. They're scoring goals this season. They're also shipping in more than they would like to, but they're scoring goals. I would expect Liverpool maybe to nick a goal. Going to be a very difficult game. I think the big thing for Liverpool is the fact that they've played more competitive games for Valencia.
Thank you very much indeed, Ron. Well, that's the team news and Ron Atkinson's views from here in Valencia. Back to the studio.
So Valencia against Liverpool, who again leave Michael Owen on the bench, is live on ITV1, and we'll keep you updated with what's going on in Spain here during the Arsenal match here at Highbury. Barry, again, Michael Owen is left on the bench.
He's been having a tough time and being left out. I can only assume, Angus, that he's not fully fit. I can only assume that he's still got some kind of niggle with his hamstring. Now, I know it's good to rest players when they're psychologically not right, especially forwards who go through these spells where they're not firing. And he hasn't been firing this season, and I think it's all connected with his hamstring. I think if he's got a fit and round to go, and he will be round to go after the rest of the weekend, Michael Owen, he plays him. So I think he's not fit.
OK, let's have a look at the groups that the English teams face during the Champions League this season, starting, of course, with Group A, tonight's group. We're watching the Arsenal-Borussia Dortmund game, of course. Auxerre and PSV Eindhoven make up the quartet there. Robbie?
Yeah, it's a tough group. I think Arsene Wenger's already gone on record and saying it's probably tougher than they had last year, but I would still expect Arsenal in the form they're in, with the belief that they've got to get through to the next stage.
These two teams to go through, I think. I think PSV could be a problem. Auxerre would be tough at home. Don't really fancy them away. But I think we're going to see the two teams tonight who are going to go through from that group.
Liverpool obviously paired with Valencia. Bal, the other side, along with Spartak Moscow. Of course, just remind you, Valencia-Liverpool is live on ITV1 at 7:30.
Again, I think the two big boys are clashing tonight in Valencia and Liverpool. And I think that's where it'll end up. Spartak Moscow and FC Bal, which I don't know anything about, being completely honest. I think Liverpool should finish at least second in that group.
Again, I think Liverpool out of that group will be disappointed if they don't, at least, as Barry said, finish second and get through the next stage.
Especially the way they did so well last year.
But the one thing for me, Liverpool are shipping a few more goals than they have of late. That's a slight worry. I think Stefan Freund getting back in that team's essential if they're going to keep things tight.
Newcastle perhaps have the toughest draw of the lot, don't they?
Oh, I don't like the look of this Liverpool, by the way. Oh, fear for Bobby. I mean, he's got a young side who are looking particularly vulnerable at the moment. And to go away to Kiev, good time of the year compared to winter time, but in Feyenoord there's a great side there, European side, and Juventus. What a reputation and standard they've got.
Manchester United, do we think they've got the easiest straw?
I think that's giving a buy. I think they call that group, isn't it? I mean, if you needed a confidence boost, maybe United got it tomorrow night's game. You can see them racking a few goals up.
I'd love to see that. I'd like to see them get back on the beam. They've been really struggling, and it's a great sight seeing Manchester United flying. And you think of the European games, you think of Ryan Giggs flying. I'd love to see that. Get a bit of confidence back under the belt.
OK, a game on tomorrow night that you'll be able to see. Well, coming up, Patrick Vieira gives us his view on the Champions League season ahead. But in the Frenchman's own words, it's time for a break. Freddie is back. Ljungberg is picked for his first starts of the season. New improved hip, new improved haircut. Freddie will start for Arsenal tonight in the Champions League. Well, this is Arsenal's 5th successive year in the Champions League. Since ending the experiment of using Wembley, Arsenal's fortunes have improved markedly in this competition. Not only is Highbury home from home, it's also boasting one of the finest playing surfaces in the country. A little earlier, Robbie popped down to inspect the hallowed turf that's more like a carpet than a football pitch.
It wasn't just the Arsenal players that won the awards last season. The groundsmen didn't do too bad either. Paul Burgess, 24 years old, and he's already won the Groundsman of the Year. And I think we can see why. It's a fantastic surface. The thing that amazes me as we look is how fine the grass is. And as I was talking to Paul earlier, he was telling me that it's a new technique that they've used. It's a new turf, it's very tightly knit, and the reason for that is that when players go to strike the ball or go into tackles, we're not going to see big clumps of the pitch come away, like you see in lots of pitches up and down the country. Now, Arsenal play a great counter-attack game. They go from one end of this pitch to the other in the quickest of time, and I think this pitch helps them for two main reasons. The first is the length of the grass. You can see it's probably maybe an inch and a half at most. That means when the ball's played, it's going to run quick and it's going to run true to its target. The second reason, I think, and quite cleverly, which the ground staff do here, they put the water on about 45 minutes to an hour before kick-off. That gives it a nice sheen and the ball's going to fizz around all over the park. It's exactly what Arsene Wenger wants for his team. They're a great counter-attack team. So, you could say last season, Arsenal had Ljungberg, they had Pires, they had Henry, they had Vieira, all big stars. But there's one star they're forgetting, and that's this chappie here. It's a fantastic pitch, and that's why Arsenal are playing some fantastic football.
So good they didn't allow you on it, Robbie.
No, I couldn't get anywhere near it.
You didn't put your keys in either, you'd be marched off. It's fantastic service, but it's narrow as well, isn't it, as a pitch?
That's one of the things that you always noted when you played here, is how narrow, how compact. These red shirts rushing you, hustling you out of the game, and that's exactly what Arsenal want. They like it nice and tight. That's why they've got this place as a fortress.
Well, their form at home is sensational, isn't it? But if you compare it to their form away from home, it's just they don't compare.
Well, the form away from home in the Premiership is phenomenal, but this is embarrassing. I mean, it took them 5 games last season to manage a point, and when you compare the two, you'd think there's two completely different sides.
What is the problem? I mean, this is belief. I think belief.
I don't think Bergkamp helps. I don't think that's the whole problem. But I don't think Dennis Bergkamp, who's integral to the way they play, we see the supply he gives to people like Ljungberg and Henry and Wiltord. I think him being in and out and not travelling doesn't help.
Yeah, because I don't think Carnow's the answer, by the way. When he steps into the team, I think they're a lot weaker side with Carnow instead of Bergkamp.
OK, well, last year, 2 German sides came to Highbury. One of them, Bayer Leverkusen, went on to make the final. But here, both Bayer and Schalke were taught a footballing lesson.
Opening up, deflected shots! Goal for Arsenal! Wiltord, Van Bronckhorst is in, open ground ahead of him. Oh, Henry! It's 2! Andy Müller around Van Bronckhorst, and the cross held up for Agali, and Van Hoogdalen! And here's Vieira, who's in. And the referee says penalty kick. Thierry Henry couldn't wait to put the ball on the spot. with the pole, Haito. And Umpenza! Schalke are back in it once again.
Off the back of a terrific tackle from Vieira. Pires, Bergkamp through the middle. Robert Pires for Arsenal. Oh, terrific! It was under pressure from Zivkovic. Still located Bergkamp in a crowd. And Vieira and Bergkamp, and Arsenal are off again. It's 3-on-2. It is Wiltor. It's Thierry Henry. It's 2-0 Arsenal. They're flying. Henry's free kick. Goal! Patrick Vieira. Wonderful. That is fantastic. Basta. Away from Vieira. Yildi Basta. Sebastian. Oh! That's another belting goal.
But even such comprehensive home wins fail to catapult Arsenal past the second group phase. For the Gunners, it's now time to prove themselves on the very biggest stage. All week, Patrick Vieira has been saying it's time for Arsenal to make history.
I never asked for rest. I'm feeling good, and I was feeling tired, yeah, because we play with the French national team on the Saturday and fly back on the Sunday. I had a training on the Sunday, played the game on Tuesday, and after the game I was feeling tired, yeah. But I never asked for rest to anybody, and I was happy to play on Saturday, and I would be happy to play on tomorrow.
Henry's free kick. Goal! Patrick Vieira.
We play like 6 games in the league already, and 4 wins and 2 draws, and we are still in the top of the league, and we're really happy with the way we perform, because I think we win the game, but we play really well as well. We really enjoy it, so it's really important to go to this league with the same commitment and the same spirit we show in the league game. I think this year we really believe in ourselves. We know that we are a fantastic side. With a player up front we can score in any time, and the self-belief for the group. We know that we are more stronger than we used to be. Fantastic! I think it's time for us to show that we are a great side, and if we want to be one of the big clubs in Europe, you have to go through winning the Champions League. But we are too far for it. It's just the first game on the competition, so we just have to think about going out of the first round before to plan anything else. And we know that with the side we have, we can do it.
Does he look tired to you? He didn't on Saturday. He doesn't this evening. He's been outstanding, hasn't he?
You talk about power and you talk about drive and controlling games and getting them by the scruff of the neck. I actually think Gilberto beside him is really complimented. He slipped in well beside him, and I think it's helped Patrick Vieira's game. He can go out there and he can dominate the security of mind that he's going to have somebody behind him who can look after the shot while he's away, if you like. But what a powerhouse in there.
Robbie, he brings a bit of everything to the side, doesn't he?
He does, and I just think personally for him, I think he wants to make his own mark now as captain of this club. You know, last season Tony was about, and Tony was a big presence. I think he's stepping into the fore now. The armband means a lot to him, and I think he'd look nothing more than to lift that trophy at the end of the season.
But if you think about him, there was all that dispute about whether he was going or not going. Now that's been sorted, it seems to have settled everybody down.
Angus, you've got to look at it. He's in a side now which is dominating the Premiership, and they've took the level to a brand new level ahead of Manchester United, and he's got the opportunity. It was mentioned about Real Madrid. Now, I think there's 2 teams, probably 3 teams, who are likely to win this competition this year. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and I think they'll be level with Arsenal. I think so he's in the right team. He's in the right outfit. He loves it here. The fans love him. The manager respects him. He gives him his freedom. And I think he's thoroughly enjoying his football, and he doesn't have to make that transition into Real Madrid's side. Would he get in Real Madrid's side, by the way? Probably. But I think it's a happy home from here now.
Certainly been a happy home for Thierry Henry, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think the elbow will worry him tonight?
No, I think he's got mental strength. I think he'll want to do well for his teammates, and he guarantees goals. He gives you problems with his pace, with his movement. He's another man who you just look and, as a number in this team, they look like they're enjoying the football. That's the biggest compliment you can say. They probably just want to get matches coming day after day. They don't want to train.
If you don't enjoy it now, you never will.
I fancy playing that team.
It's the Premier League champions against the Bundesliga champions. It's England against Germany. What more could you want? Any game at Highbury is worth waiting for about now, whoever you support. Five years ago, Borussia Dortmund were crowned kings of Europe. Matthias Sammer lifted the European Cup on home soil. Today, he manages tonight's visitors to Highbury. Another member of that famous squad of '97 also knows North London well. Stefan Freund, once of Dortmund, now of Tottenham. He's been talking to Gabriel Clark.
Stefan, a former Dortmund player, a current Tottenham player, I don't think you'll be cheering Arsenal tonight.
No, I Dortmund, it's clear, because I play for Spurs, and I love to see Dortmund win today.
What are the strengths of this Dortmund team?
The strength is, okay, two players are very important, offensive players are not here today. It's Amoroso and Rosicky, and that's why I know Matthias Sammer will play more in the defense today. They work as a team very well and very hard, and from there they go forward and have a good target striker with Jan Koller. And today I think that we start with a defensive formation.
You're saying your friend Matthias Sammer has come here to defend?
Yeah, but what can he do if Amoroso is injured and Rosicky is injured, and you play at Highbury, and you know that Arsenal is 27 games unbeaten? I think it's clever to stay or to play very well in the defense as a team first, and then you go forward.
How good is the Bundesliga right now? We look at Bayer Leverkusen in the final last year. Bayern Munich won it the year before. Yeah. I think we assume the Premier League and the Primera Liga are stronger, but would you agree?
No, I think the Premier League is stronger than the Bundesliga. That's what I have to say, because I know the Premier League very well now in the last 3.5 years, and I play better and better every year. But the Bundesliga, and you know the Germans, they are always there if they can win something. And I think the Italian league 5-6 years ago was the best league, and now they are struggling. The three top leagues in the world for me is the Spanish league, the German league and the English league.
Tonight the key man for Borussia Dortmund, who can cause Arsenal problems?
Jan Koller. He is the target striker and he can score here today.
Quickly, are you nearly fit?
I'm nearly fit. I played now 2 reserve games. Hopefully I can play again on Monday at Forest, and then I hope I'm back.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Gabriel Clark with Stefan Freund. Well, Arsene Wenger may have captured a double-double since his arrival at Highbury, but the crown he wants most still eludes him. Tom Skippings has been to find out that behind the cool exterior burns a desperate desire to be champion of Europe.
We have worked very hard in the last seasons to be up there, and we are now in the top 8 teams in Europe. We want to make a step forward, and I think this season is a good possibility to do it.
How would you compare your first group phase that you have this year, the opposition you faced with last season's, for instance?
I would say it's a little bit tougher this year, because we have champions of Germany. Auxerre could certainly play for the title this year in France. PSV Eindhoven, who got Leeds out last year. So it's a very tough group, but as well you feel that if you're consistent, you go through, because every team can beat the next one.
And you start at home, is that an advantage?
Don't know, I think you want to be, of course, strong at home, and to start well will put us in a good position to make good results away from home.
And Borussia Dortmund, they've started the Bundesliga perhaps a little slower than you might expect. They're unbeaten, but they've drawn a few of their games. What's your assessment of their strengths and weaknesses?
My assessment is that it is a very dangerous team. It's a mixture of Europe and South America, and so that means there's a lot of physical strength and a lot of creative ingredients in there, and that this mixture looked to have worked last year. They were in the European Cup final and the UEFA final. They won the championship, and that's why I think it's one of the strong teams in Europe.
You follow that with a couple of away games, PSV and then Auxerre. I mean, the away form was obviously costly to you in the Champions League last season. How do you address that situation?
I would say we addressed quite a problem when we went out last year, because we had a good game at Leverkusen and looked much more confident in our potential. And unfortunately, when we sorted out the problem, we lost against La Coruña here and got out of the Champions League. But overall, I'm confident that we know how to cope now with the different kind of football we face in Europe, and that we will show that this season.
What elements add up to your confidence as you go into the Champions League? Is it the success that you've had, the experience of winning the double?
Success we had, the stability we have in our squad, the spirit of the team, the hunger of the team, because they want to be successful in Europe, and they want it really deeply. It's not a superficial one, it's a very deep drive for success in my side. I feel that, and the experience we gathered over the years, of course, is very important.
How much of a drive is it for you? Is it the missing thing for you as a manager?
It is a missing thing for me, and you can see that my drive is as deep as the one of a squad. That means quite a lot.
He wants it, but he wants the consistency, and that's what he needs, Robbie.
Yeah, and there's a team up the road who play in red a few miles in Manchester who I think have got one over on Arsenal because they've won this trophy. He wants to address that. But for me, the problem they have is that teams may give them that utmost respect and come and camp at places like tonight. As we heard Stefan Freund say, you know, Dortmund ain't going to come here and play open. They're going to make it tight. A draw will be magnificent for them, and Arsenal may have to be patient at times before they find their way through.
He says the side has learnt how to cope with the different styles. Jan Koller will actually give him a different style. He's big. You know, he may not see much of the ball tonight because if they play defensively like Stefan Freund says, but he'll still be dangerous.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the focal point, and what they'll be doing is trying to get the ball up to him, and he'll have to make the ball stick to give the midfield boys a chance. Hey, he's no mug. You know, he's 6'8" and he's 15.5 stone. I wouldn't like to run into him, but he's got little delicate touches. He's not a Dennis Bergkamp, don't get me wrong, but he is a problem. But I do think the physical aspect does not bother Sol Campbell and Martin Keown one iota. It's the service.
I actually think he's better with his feet than he is in the air. He doesn't, for me, punch his weight. You know, you're 6'8", you get balls in the box, you shouldn't lose a header. But he almost, to me, wants to be too good a footballer, and that might just fall into Arsenal's hands.
The nice thing if you Sol Campbell and Martin Keown is he's never going to really run away from you, so you can push up and get tight on him. You know fine well he's not going to come short and spin over the top and leave you for pace.
Still strong though.
Oh, he's strong, but they're going to catch him. So they can afford to squeeze the game. And what I'm saying is they can afford to squeeze the game. And although they're going to sit back, keep the ball in there, keep the pressure on. And I think this is where Freddie Ljungberg comes in. Those little clever runs coming in from outside left, in between the right back and the right-sided centre back. And Dennis Bergkamp getting on the ball, seeing the picture, picking them out. I can see it already.
So however defensive they are, we're still going to see some goals.
They've got lock pickers.
Yeah, they have got lock pickers, but it might need a little bit more patience in the early start.
Yeah. Okay, so we're less than 10 minutes away from Arsenal's latest tilt into Europe. Can the English champions conquer Europe? The journey starts next. The Champions League starts here. Sit back and enjoy the action described for us by David Pleats and John Champion.
Never has a Champions League season dawned at Highbury with quite so much hope and expectation. Is this at long last going to be the year when potential finally gives way to meaningful, solid achievement? Well, make no mistake, watching Arsenal is the hottest ticket in town right now. Unbeatable in the Premiership, untouchable it seems in terms of style. But this endless conundrum remains. How can a team so fluent at home be so fallible on their travels? And how nice, despite the overblown format of the competition, to be starting the season with a true European Cup tie in the old-fashioned sense. The champions of England against the champions of Germany, and both teams ready to be led out onto a pristine playing surface. A real credit to the groundsman here at Highbury, Paul Burgess. It is billiard table-like in appearance, as these players are about to find out for themselves. The evening mild, the stadium expectant, and the scene very nicely set. There's the usual last-minute rush for seats. It is a sellout, even though Highbury was only 2/3 full, but 5 minutes ago. This Dortmund team that's not made the best of starts in the Bundesliga and hasn't had much impact on this competition since reaching the semi-final 4 years ago. Still one or two old-timers who remember winning the trophy in 1997. Jörg Heinrich in particular, and some of the best young players in Germany in Metzelder, Frings and Kehl. And what about this Arsenal lineup? Football relies on hyperbole, doesn't it? But even at this stage of the season, one or two respected observers are suggesting that this could be the best Arsenal team ever. It's enough to make that bust of Herbert Chapman in the marble halls fall off its plinth. One big surprise in Arsene Wenger's selection tonight. Freddie Ljungberg, who underwent hip surgery after the World Cup, plays his first club game since the day that Arsenal secured the double at Old Trafford back in May. Edu is unfit, that's why Ljungberg is pressed into starting. Luzhny keeps his place at right back, and apart from the longer-term absentees of Pires and Van Bronckhorst, this is more or less Wenger's strongest team. Dortmund without perhaps their most important man, the playmaker Tomáš Rosický of the Czech Republic, and also their most experienced defender Christian Wörns, who failed a late fitness test on his recently operated upon left knee. So the Argentine Juan Fernandez makes his first start for the club, and Ahmed Madouni, a Frenchman born in Morocco, gets a rare outing. There are also three Brazilians, fullbacks Evan Nielsen and Dede, and striker Everton. One name stands out on the caption of substitutes, Stefan Freund, number 7 there, a World Cup winner in 1990, only on the bench this evening for Dortmund. Arsenal, well, they have plenty in reserve, including Kanu and Lauren. And despite being one of Europe's most experienced officials, Anders Frisk is paying his first working visit to Highbury. 3 World Cup finalists on show, 2.5 months on from Yokohama. Arsenal's hugely impressive new midfield acquisition, Gilberto Silva, once again facing up to Christoph Metzelder, a real find in the Far East, still only 21, and Thorsten Frings, who played in all 7 of Germany's games in their run to the final. And then, of course, there is Freddie Ljungberg with only 70 minutes of match practice behind him in a friendly against Reading, in which he looked, we're told, decidedly ring-rusty. It's a breathless night. Champions of England against champions of Germany, a heavyweight European occasion, and whilst it's surely on foreign fields that Arsenal really need to prove themselves, they can't afford any slip-ups at Highbury, where usually they're rock solid. David Pleats with me. How do you see this one, David?
Well, it's a fascinating game, contrasting starts to the season. The Germans have only won one so far. I expect them to play very much on the counter-attack, and I see Kohler, the tall, lumbering centre-forward, as a little bit of a lone ranger as the game develops. But Arsenal have pace to burn, and now I think now that Ljungberg has been given the confidence vote, I have to predict the home team.
Well, the throw-in is going to be taken by one of those Brazilians, Evan Nielsen, finding Jan Koller. And now Arsenal with Gilberto, momentarily lost out to his fellow South American Fernandez, signed from Estudiantes in Argentina. Evan Nielsen. Dortmund in their vivid yellow shirts, which became so prominent when they won this trophy in 1997. Here's Thierry Henry, with Wiltor in the centre, and appeals for handball, waved away by Anders Frisk. Borussia Dortmund escape for the time being.
Early signs of Henry's pace there down the left. If he gets turned and faces you, you're in trouble, and Metzelder will quickly realise the pace. Was it hands? I think that it was so close that you would probably get the benefit of the doubt there from Mr. Frisk.
Collar. And now Dede, who crosses a mean ball from this left side. Everton is up with him. Well, I did say he did well with his left foot, that was his right. There's Matthias Sammer, only 35 earlier this month, the youngest coach ever to win the Bundesliga title. And in fact, when you think about his age, he could well have been playing for Germany in the last World Cup had it not been for that dreadful knee problem that ended his career at the age of 32. A push there by Metzelder on Henry. It's broken for Bergkamp. Wiltor in the middle, header away by Madouni. Ashley Cole. Henry to Bergkamp. Wiltor. And Dennis Bergkamp. No great power in the shot.
Didn't quite get hold of the ball, but there you see the link up and the importance of Bergkamp pulling the strings.
Easy enough for Jens Lehmann. There's the target man, all 6'7.5" of him, Jan Koller, tallest player in top-level football in Europe. Fernandes. Torsten Frings tipped over the top for Fernandes, who continued his run.
Calm play by Keown, but a good forward break by Fernandes. The early signs are that Dortmund may not sit back as much as we thought and concede too much possession. They will take every opportunity when they get possession to get people forward.
It's been a fair amount of disappointment around the Dortmund club at their start to the Bundesliga season. 1 victory and 4 draws. They are one of 3 unbeaten sides in the German league, but they're only in 7th place, already 6 points behind the pace setters Bayern. Bergkamp, lovely deft touch to Sylvain Wiltor, through the legs of Metzelder, tidied up by Heinrich. Everton. Evan Nielsen.
I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it looked a dreadful ball that managed to find a yellow shirt.
Certainly unexpected. Everton. Henry. Looks to have the beating of several of these Dortmund players, among them Sebastian Kehl. It's as if he wasn't there.
Well, a terrific individual break there by Thierry Henry, and Wiltor did manage to get somewhere near the box. Bergkamp couldn't quite get anywhere near the box, but the express-like pace of Henry can be a problem sometimes to his colleagues who just can't get into the centre to receive the cross if it was forthcoming. In that case, he overran the ball.
We've talked about Arsenal's travel sickness. Dortmund suffer similarly. They haven't won any of their last 8 away matches in the Champions League, going back over 5 years. In fact, they've not really made that much of an impact on the competition since 1998, when they reached the semi-final. Out at the first group stage on their last 2 entries. The compensation last season, a belated UEFA Cup run that took them as far as the final and defeat by Feyenoord.
Lot of good movement by Arsenal. Wiltor breaking off the right touchline, giving room for Lusny to join in, and good passage of early passing by the Arsenal side.
Here is Bergkamp. And now Wiltor with a nice turn, and Madouni, his fellow Frenchman, alert to concede the corner. Campbell is up. So, of course, is the 6'4" frame of Patrick Vieira. Henry to deliver. Campbell went for it. Still in play. Keown out-jumped. Ashley Cole. Bergkamp. Fernandes. Dede. Fernandes. Evan Nielsen. Too strong for Frings.
Frings is playing behind the front players, possibly as a more defensive type player, obviously, than the tricky Rosicky, who's missing tonight.
Shame about that as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is a shame. He's got a lot of ability. I saw him play, I think it was 3 seasons ago for Prague, for Sparta Prague, that is, against Arsenal in Prague, and one could see then the sharpness and the cleverness of the player, and of course he's done quite well in Germany.
Meetings with English clubs in the Champions League haven't been too plentiful in recent years for Borussia Dortmund. Not since their defeat of Manchester United in the 1997 semi-final. They faced Liverpool home and away last season, drew 0-0 in Dortmund and lost 2-0 at Anfield. And this will break for Ljungberg. First chance to really have a gallop down that left touchline. And Madouni meeting the cross. He's glad to be back in the thick of it, Freddie Ljungberg. It's another corner. Same format. Up come the centre-backs. Keown, and a little later, Campbell, and there's a spot of barging going on inside the penalty area, which the referee is going to have to sort out.
I think it was a friendly push by Jens Lehmann on Freddie Ljungberg.
Lehmann lectured. Germany's number 1. In by Henry, poorly. Cleared by Heinrich.
Borussia playing with a back 4, no sweeper, 4 defenders, 3 in the midfield, and then 2 deeper midfield players playing wide. Fernandes slightly on the left and Everton on the right, leaving Kohler up the centre. Frings will play in the centre of midfield, and it will be very much a behind-the-ball battle for the yellow-shirted Germans.
Arsenal hitherto have relied as an insurance policy on winning their home fixtures and then hoping to pick up a point here and there on their travels. So it's not really good enough for a sustained Champions League challenge. Arsene Wenger's well aware of that. They've won 14 of their last 17 European matches here. Away from home, they've lost 9 of their last 11. It's unacceptable. Gilberto. Wiltor, adhesive first touch, layoff from Henry. Ljungberg's made a run. Inventive pass to Freddie Ljungberg. Madouni rose highest, and it's out as far as Vieira. Bergkamp. Oh, Madouni just got to it. Wiltor made a clever run.
Yeah, Wiltor's roaming infield, he's making these breaks, he's certainly not hugging the touchline in an orthodox fashion.
Bergkamp's arm up. So is the referee's. To give Arsenal the decision.
Well, Metzelder clearly blocking him off there.
Gilberto. Bergkamp. Luzhny. Dede. Campbell. Bergkamp, no one behind him. I wonder what you made of Metzelder at the World Cup. You saw a bit of him, David.
He did very well, you know, when you consider that he came on a free transfer to Dortmund and he's hardly had 50 or 60 first-team appearances. Quite incredible, his progress.
Henry trying to play in Wiltor. Free kick given just outside the edge of the D. And there's going to be a card as well. Dede.
Once again, it's the pace of Arsenal that is threatening. Clearly taken out by the Brazilian fullback.
It's a real worry for them, isn't it? His speed, fleetness of foot.
I think there's so many problems when Arsenal have possession in terms of pace. It's so important when you regain possession, you keep the ball. And so far, Borussia haven't done it that well. And I'm waiting to see who is going to be their midfield playmaker, the one that can look after the ball and make the play.
So, Henry or Cole? It's Henry, and it's smacked against the right edge of the wall with a fairly resounding thud.
10 yellow shirts back in that area. Had some swerve on it, but a good wall.
Block was by Collar. It'll be Arsenal's throw. Arsene Wenger had a good description for Jan Collar. It's hardly original, but he said, in all seriousness, he should be playing basketball. Which would be to ignore the talent of a fairly effective striker, David.
Yes, well, he wouldn't be that quick around the court, I can tell you. I've seen a hell of a lot of him. On his day, he can be a very cunning passer of a ball, but he doesn't really punch his weight. Maybe he will tonight.
Heinrich. 3 inside the penalty area for Dortmund. And Ashley Cole having a little hack at Heinrich, but doing well to hold him up. Evan Nielsen. And Cole's pressurising leads to Arsenal winning the throw. Only one German team has ever won at Highbury, Borussia Mönchengladbach, in a UEFA Cup tie, just after Arsene Wenger joined the club 6 years ago. Collar. And Cole concedes the throw when he thought he might have been awarded a free kick for a push by Everton. Aimed inevitably towards Collar, headed away by Vieira. Ljungberg. Fernandez. Cole.
Good covering position by Cole to get that header away.
This is where Arsenal are so dangerous with their pace. Freddie Ljungberg.
Well, he certainly looks fit and healthy. He's got a nice tan. He's had a little bit of a rest. He's played 1 or 2 practice matches at the training ground, and there was a sign of that thrusting running that he's So clever at timing through the middle.
Wiltor. Block was by Sebastian Kehl, another member of the German World Cup squad, although he didn't play in the final. Frings, who did. Evan Nielsen, who might have had a chance with Brazil, but for the outstanding Cafu.
Couple of poor passes in the midfield. Frings and Heinrich need to get hold of the ball.
Fernandes. Big night for him. First start for the club. This is Wiltor. Now Vieira. Ljungberg to his left. Henry is lurking in the middle. Wiltor has joined him. So is Oleg Luzhny. That's Dede with a scuffed clearance. Or Fernandes caught late by Luzhny.
I think that's a yellow, Mr. Oleg. Got away with it. Lenient referee. Poorly mistimed tackle. No question about it.
He had his disciplinary problems in this competition last season. Sent off for elbowing Jörg Böhmer at Schalke. And the recipient of a 4-match ban. Keogh.
You can never tell if Vieira looks tired, can you really? He's such a powerhouse. Only he can tell if he's tired. Always important for the away team to get through the first 20 minutes or so, and Dortmund look as though they've coped with that. No clear chances yet for the Arsenal.
Evan Nielsen. Heinrich is forward this time. It comes off Collar's head to Fernandes. Met on the half volley very meatilly by Sol Campbell. Everton. Madouni, header away by Cole, only as far as Torsten Frings, who's brought down by Vieira. Free kick Dortmund.
Good play by Frings, stole the march on Vieira there to pick up the loose header from Ashley Cole. First real diagonal ball we've seen played in. There we see it, probably looking for Kohler. Beyond him, Ashley Cole's clearance. Picked up by Frings, getting a yard on Vieira.
Well, first to the ball was Dede. Closely pursued by number 8, Torsten Frings. In training last night, Dede was striking the ball very sweetly from this sort of distance. And it'll be Dede to strike it! Not bad for height, but it was always swerving away from goal.
It was a nice clean hit, but I just wondered, did he need a stationary ball then? Did he want him just moved a fraction, didn't it? Just needed to stop it dead probably to get the perfect drive, but complimentary effort.
So Arsenal on terms, but I'm afraid Liverpool behind in the Mestalla. In tonight's other Champions League fixture, Valencia 1, Liverpool 0. Aymar with the goal after 20 minutes of play. Everton. Kehl. And now Dede, whose brother Leandro is on the bench for Dortmund this evening. Jan Koller, Everton. Needed the resilience of Campbell. Free kick has been given, has it? I think the referee turned, looked at the tangle and decided that he was going to give the free kick, so the shot didn't matter.
I thought Koller did quite well there, but of course the referee might have deemed that it was a tackle from behind on Vieira, but he went for the ball.
Got the ball as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Just a slight lull in Arsenal's tempo at the moment.
Ljungberg. That's a free kick. Wonder how long Ljungberg can be expected to last after so long out tonight.
Well, he won't last too long if Cahill makes those type of challenges on him, that's for sure, John. I have to say I've been most unimpressed by Cahill so far in this game. He's given the ball away quite easily and then he spends his time trying to win it back.
Sebastian Cahill. One of the better young players in Germany, apparently. Clearance on the stretch by Dede. Nearly made the upper tier of the main stand here at Highbury, which is a fair old whack. Fernandes. Hunted down by Gilberto, but he released it to Dede. And it's a good job that Fernandes' first touch wasn't better. Frings. Cole. Ljungberg. Thierry Henry off the pitch for Arsenal at the moment, receiving some treatment. This is Ljungberg. It's some achievement to score with 10. Bergkamp. Will towards by the penalty spot. Bergkamp trying to fight off Sebastian Cahill. Nice balance, what you expect really. Header away by Heinrich. Not just expect, but take for granted. Wiltor. Oleg Luzhny.
Well, crossed by Luzhny into a barren 18-yard box. One of the reasons being that man returning to the field now, Thierry Henry.
Fernandes. Everton. Deflection off Martin Keown's heel, and it's a corner.
Well, he certainly didn't have a clear-sighted goal, Everton, there. Took a chance. Could have got lucky through Keown's legs. Decided to take the shot early.
Henry, by the way, was off the field having his knee taped up. Seems to be moving reasonably freely, though. Madouni on the near post. First and second header. Well, first header by Campbell, then he missed it. Wiltor. Now here's a true speed merchant. It's Henry. Vieira far side. Dortmund doing a fair old job in holding him up. But still, he got away a very threatening shot, and Lehmann was fortunate it didn't fall to a red shirt.
Yeah, Wiltor was ready to pounce. Good break by Henry.
I think we can take it that Thierry Henry's knee is not giving him too much jip. Frings. Cahill. Fernandes. Dortmund without Rosicky in particular. Fairly workmanlike team. Not a whole lot by way of flair, but maybe you wouldn't expect it in an away match at Highbury for them.
I think they miss Amoruso too, a very good forward player.
Lars Ricken is also out injured at the moment. Veteran of their win in 1997. Here's Bergkamp, that's lovely. Henry set himself and almost waited too long. Sliced it.
Oh, the ball was moved at lovely angles there. Ljungberg, Bergkamp, Henry, and then the driven ball. That's the beautiful. It can't get set. Borussia defenders can't get set when the moves are played at such pace. And there's the drive. It did go through the legs of Heinrich. Lehmann, very tall goalkeeper with a good stretch.
joyous thoughts as we enter the first of possibly 17 Champions League matches for Arsenal. Here's the prospect of Van Bronckhorst and particularly Robert Pires coming back into contention before too long. Here's Ljungberg, retrieved by Frinks. Keown, now Campbell. Kale. Pires watching on tonight. He is back in light training. Arsenal still playing musketeer football without him most of the time.
What is musketeer football, John?
Played by Frenchmen with style, David.
I see. I thought it was putting teams to the sword or something.
Bit of that as well. Dede. Came over all Roberto Carlos there.
Yeah, he's got power, there's no question about that. Whether he can get to forward and use that power. There we see the drive. It's way wide. Seaman not been tested so far.
Cole's attempt to clear was blocked. This is Everton. Well, it was until he ran into Sol Campbell in obdurate mood. Foul given against Heinrich.
It was a poor attempt to make no attempt to play the ball. Wasn't going to disguise that in Mr. Frisk's eyes, I don't think.
Wiltord. Bergkamp. Strings to be pulled by the Dutchman. Henry. Away from Dede the first time, but then loitered. Dede came back at him. Bit of loitering going on.
Yeah, loosely too quick for Kohler.
Everton. Pulled back by Gilberto.
Very sharp Everton, but a little lightweight, I suggest. Just seen Campbell rob him quite easily. Not that that's too difficult for a man of Sol's frame, but there we see another one in midfield where he had a chance to do better.
Dede. Out by Vieira. Bergkamp. Some lovely touches in there from Bergkamp and Henry. Frings won it back. This is Kohler slipping away from Sol Campbell. Heinrich backed out by Cole.
Well, Heinrich and Kohler having a go at each other. Whether Kohler could go that across the 6-yard box, I think he could. Heinrich wasn't happy with Kohler's attempt at the back heel, not least because Heinrich was too slow to read it.
Ljungberg did ever so well to keep his footing. Here's Henry, and now it's Wiltord. Good save by Lehmann, made himself very big very quickly. Picked off by Fernandes. But the way goals have been flying in for Arsenal, and particularly for Sylvain Wiltord, you expected the net to bulge.
Well, Lehmann read it very well. I think as the ball was being delivered to Wiltord, it looked odds on that the Arsenal man might score.
Arsenal's best chance of the game so far. There haven't been many. Noise level rising a little around Highbury. Encouraged by the action on the pitch. Bergkamp. 4 up with him, including Vieira. Still Dennis Bergkamp. And he wants a corner. And the referee, Mr. Frisk, has turned his back and given it a goal kick.
It certainly was a fast break, and you saw the determination of the Arsenal players to get in the box there. Here's the pass that led to Wiltord's attempt, but we must give credit for Lehmann there. He really did come quickly and as you say, spread himself perfectly. I think Arsenal will just be disturbed a little bit by the quality of the passing at times.
Everton. Well read by Cole. Dortmund's throw. This is Torsten Frings. Jörg Heinrich. Evan Nielsen to Frings. And 3 up with him this time, which is dangerous. There's Fernandes. And credit to Oleg Luzhny.
Absolutely, he got into a super position to thwart the threat there of Fernandes, and coming up behind him was Everton in the box. It was a good break. Ashley Cole just caught there with that little ball behind him. Good defending by Luzhny.
Well, they've sent some fairly tall men forward in Madani and of course Koller. On by Heinrich, just too long for Kale. Dortmund want to take this throw quickly. Pocket picked by Gilberto. Carroll attempt to release Henry as well.
Good reading by the German #2 goalkeeper there, Jens Lehmann. It was a straight, fastest ball by Gilberto. He spotted the run okay, but Lehmann read it.
Well, the Premiership season is gathering pace nicely, so don't miss this Saturday's helping. Big Sam Allardyce will be here with Bolton. Arsenal against Bolton, Manchester United facing Tottenham at Old Trafford. Those are the main matches. ITV1 10:30. And for the latest on the Champions League, our website itv.com/Champions League. Frings, too strong for Dede. Vieira. Wiltor. Ljungberg prepared to dart through the middle, just on his back foot. Good to see him back though.
Yeah, fine play by Bergkamp, linking with Wiltor, and the merest touch, I think, would have put Ljungberg through. It was just a little bit heavy.
Cole. Well played, Henry. Calling Campbell into action though. Now Ashley Cole. Koller, suspiciously close to his arm.
Got long arms, John.
Long, they're enormous, David. And no foul on Luzhny by Frings. Now Keown to Bergkamp, launching pad for Arsenal. Henry, Ljungberg to his left, Wiltor right, Lehmann in the middle.
Unlucky, unlucky. Clever pass once again, well read by the keeper. He just didn't quite have enough angle on the ball for Ljungberg, but today saw Ljungberg's pace. It's coming back.
Actually looks quite soberly attired this evening, Freddie Ljungberg. No red go faster stripe in evidence yet. Maduni.
Not for the first time Ashley Cole reading these walls, played crossfield and intercepting.
Everton. Fernandez will strike it, and Seaman was stranded.
Well, didn't he strike it lovely? Took it with his right foot and drove it with his left foot. It was a fine pass, cross-field to Fernandez. Came 4 years ago from the Argentinian club. It was a good hit. Tremendous strike. If that would have gone into the rigging, could have been a proud man.
One cap for Argentina at the age of 18, Juan Fernandez. Bergkamp. Ball obeying just about his every whim until the intervention of Evan Nielsen, who caught Ljungberg there. More news coming in from the Mestalla in Spain, and it's not positive news because it's now Valencia 2, Liverpool 0. Aymar's opener added to by Ruben Baraja.
Well, not the first visiting club to fail at Valencia, almost unbeatable record in that stadium.
Well, it was Valencia who put paid to Arsenal's hopes at the quarter-final stage in this competition 2 years ago, as far as they've ever got. Reached a European Cup quarter-final back in 1972 and lost to Ajax, never beyond the last 8 of Europe's premier club competition. Hopes are high that this year will be their best ever. Ljungberg. Here goes Wiltor. Cross comes Madouni. There's a former Valencia manager, Claudio Ranieri. Doing rather well with Chelsea so far this season. Collar. Everton. Cahill caught by Ashley Cole. Cahill's taking his time in getting up.
I don't think there's any question about that. Once again, lenient referee, Mr. Frisk. Grown a little bit in confidence as the half's gone on. They still don't look a side that can create easily. The couple of efforts from long range, Kohler battling up the front on his own, but there's certainly more confidence about them now, but they haven't had a real rhythm in their play. No offside decisions so far in the game, which is interesting. Dortmund not having to come out too far, because if they concede space behind, Arsenal can rip them apart.
Gilberto. Vieira. Bergkamp. So many positions of promise for Arsenal which have not been fulfilled. There's another of them.
I think Lehmann's been important, hasn't he? He's made one wonderful save from Will Tord, and he's also read a couple of situations perfectly for the through ball to the pacey forwards.
Everton. Cahill. Dede. Gilberto caught by Fernandez.
nothing malicious there.
Campbell. Henry. Henry. Intervention was by Metzelder.
Playing an important game, Metzelder at the back.
Everton. Wiltor. Ljungberg. Foul given. Arsenal's free kick.
Yeah, Wiltor is really wandering from this right-hand side. He's making a third forward at times. Ljungberg's holding the width on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, they're looking for Lusny to push forward. That pushes Fernandes back, who's essentially looking after Lusny. But I just wonder if Arsenal could exploit the width of the pitch a little bit more with Wiltor having a spell where he's really wide.
Sworn more or less at fresh air by Everton. Wiltor. Bounce back off Metzelder. Ljungberg. Off the top of Luzhny's head. Dortmund more than happy, one suspects, with 0-0 as we approach half-time. Other teams in this group that they've still to face, PSV Eindhoven and Auxerre. But that's it for the first half at Highbury. Best chance fell to Sylvain Wiltor with a shot set up by Thierry Henry that was blocked by Jens Lehmann, who set an important lead in the Borussia Dortmund goal. Studio views coming up, but at half-time at Highbury, it's Arsenal 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. So it's goalless here at Highbury. We've got first half highlights coming up of Valencia against Liverpool, where I can tell you the half-time score is Valencia 2, Liverpool 0. But as I said, no goals here. Not quite the first half we expected, Robbie.
No, Dortmund have had more possession than I thought, and at times have controlled the play, which I think will worry Arsene Wenger a little bit. And again, Arsenal have had to be patient. You know, the openings haven't come. I felt at times they've been a little bit narrow. Wiltor and Ljungberg, as we know, like to make runs, but often they come from outside in rather than the other way, and that's causing problems.
Thierry Henry has been most threatening, though, again.
His pace is always a threat, and we'll see breaks out here. Holds the play up first, I think, looks for any of his teammates, then decides to go alone. And I'd have to say it's an excellent save from Lehmann, who looks nice and live and alert for a goalkeeper. Because you see, he comes through the defender's legs.
Yeah.
It's a good stretch to get one hand on it.
And good, clever forwards play for that. But it is interesting, though, that was on the counter-attack, and I think that's when Arsenal have had the chance to exploit Borussia Dortmund. When Borussia Dortmund got a little bit of confidence, come on, and then that space is there for the pace to explode out. Because I think they've been stifled a little bit. I think Dortmund have looked really solid, and they've stopped Arsenal passing quick, slick passing regularly. They've done it the odd once or twice.
They did that one chance where Thierry just
often enough for me.
Spooned it wide, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was very quick.
This was the best move of the game for Arsenal's point of view. I mean, they banged a few around, got good movement ahead of the ball into Bergkamp, one touch out to Henry, and well, he's gone for the classic finish. Whether he could have maybe taken a touch, but it's inviting.
Yeah, he's got to hit that.
Gets it wrong.
That is definitely the best bit in the play around the box in the open play, you know, without the counter attack, and that's happened once in the first half. And I think two things. I think Arsenal just haven't picked up the tempo with the passing and doing that quick enough, often enough, to trouble Dortmund, who are looking more and more comfortable as the half goes on, growing more and more in confidence, pressing a little bit more. And I do think Arsenal have defended deeply at times, which has been detrimental to them because they haven't controlled the game that they want to, the way they wanted to. And I also think Cola's had a little bit of joy up front.
And they haven't taken the few chances they had, and Sylvain Wiltord perhaps had the best of the half.
Oh, definitely. And this is a tremendous ball. It's slide rule right to him. He just needs touch, one step, dink, and his touch just got away from it and give the goalkeeper a chance to make a good smother.
Yeah, keeper does well. I mean, it's one of those you need it tight to your feet and then hit. It doesn't, it just gets away, but let's credit Lehmann again. He's out quickly, big body to smother.
Fernandes could have embarrassed Arsenal in that first half.
Yeah, they are exploiting the right-hand side down Arsenal's left, which is Cole's pushed on at times. He's tried to join the play. Frings breaks in there, and I tell you what, this is a hell of a tackle by Luzini. Doesn't always get the credit he deserves at times, but he's gone in and defended ever so well.
Frings is the one who's been joining in from the midfield, and he's the one who hasn't really been picked up. But you're right, Ashley Cole, I think, has been exposed a couple of times, but they're a bit of a threat. I think Arsenal would obviously enjoy a little bit more possession if they could push up a little bit.
Let's check on the other half times. No goals at all in Group A at the moment. Auxerre, PSV. In Group B, as we know, we'll see highlights in a minute. Valencia lead Liverpool by 2-0, but Bâle against Spartak Moscow is also goalless. In Group C, no goals in Genk. Genk 0, Athens 0, AEK Athens, of course. Roma 0, Real Madrid 1. And in Group D, it's Rosenborg 0, Inter Milan 1, Ajax 2, Lyon 0. Well, Liverpool are having a pretty torrid time in Valencia. They trail by 2-0 at half-time. Brief highlights now with your commentator, Clive Tilsley.
Torres, Albelda, Aymar, on by Baraka, terrific move, wonderful goal, Pablo Aymar, it has been coming. Pinball passing from Valencia, opening Liverpool up, and Pablo Aymar, the Argentine World Cup international, strikes with less than 20 minutes gone. Marvellous goal. Here is Carew into the path of Baraka. 2-0. Ruben Baraka doubles Valencia's lead. A pile of joy in the back of the Liverpool net, joining the ball that Baraka placed there with such conviction a moment ago.
So Liverpool with it all to do in the second half. Here at Highbury, well, it's not often that Arsenal are held, but they haven't scored in the first half. The next 45 coming right up. Goalless here at Highbury. One interested party in the stands is Bolton manager Sam Allardyce. He, of course, brings his side to Highbury on Saturday. He's now talking to Gabriel Clark.
Sam, you worked out the formula for winning at Manchester United. How's your game plan for winning here on Saturday coming along?
I think it would probably be very similar, as you've seen with Dortmund tonight, who've defended extremely well today, and of course there's not an awful lot in the game. In fact, apart from Dortmund taking the corner and Arsenal doing the breakout from there with a great chance from Wiltord, I don't think Arsenal had a real chance tonight.
Have Arsenal not played that well yet, or have Dortmund played very well?
A little bit of both, I think. I think that you know, that Arsenal are a little bit nervous because it's a Champions League and don't want to commit too many men forward. I mean, you've got to give Dortmund the respect they deserve, and of course that means they haven't created probably as many chances as they've done in the Premier League. But I'm sure the second half, the tempo will up a bit because Arsenal want to get that 1-0 win.
What do you take from a game like this? You're watching it. I presume you want English clubs to do well, but maybe you don't want Arsenal to be in great form for Saturday.
Well, I hope it wears them out and tires them out, of course, playing a Champions League game, which I think there's a lot of effort has to go into that. But it's just a pleasure for us to be watching tonight, knowing that we've got Arsenal on Saturday.
Good luck with that. Thanks, Tim.
Cheers, thanks.
That's Saturday. This is tonight's. It's goalless at the moment. Let's get back to our commentary team of David Pleat and John Champion.
Of course, Sam Allardyce has done a bit of business with Borussia Dortmund. He signed Freddie Bobic from them at the back end of last season. Bobic, who I think he's now playing for Hanover in the Bundesliga.
He's gone back to Germany. They didn't extend the loan this season, or they couldn't come to terms. Maybe one foreigner too many.
There are quite a lot there. No changes to either side at half-time. The second half in which Arsenal need to impose themselves. Arsenal don't generally go in for goalless draws. Dortmund would happily take one. So it's up to Arsenal to make the running. And what do you think, David Pleat, has been said in that Arsenal dressing room?
Well, I think Wiltord will stay wider. I think to make the spaces for Bergkamp to slide the balls, I think that him by coming too far infield, he was just, you know, crowding that little bit of room that Bergkamp needs to push Henry and Ljungberg through coming off the left touch line. I think from the Dortmund side, they'll be quite happy, not only the fact that they haven't conceded, but they just shaded the possession in that half, and Arsenal didn't have any concerted period of pressure.
Wiltord. Dede. Everton almost caught out by Ljungberg. And here goes Henry. Offside flags up. This won't count. Hold the celebrations. It's still 0-0. Flag was up very promptly.
Well, good spot, John. You'll pass your referees, of course, because I have to say that the orange and yellow flag on that far side certainly did go up quickly, but it's very difficult to decipher against the back cloth of the crowd there.
Cut of the grass gives a clue, doesn't it, and suggests the referee's assistant was right.
Oh, absolutely right.
Almost the perfect start to the second half for Arsenal.
Just a little warning for Borussia. The two centre-backs have got to keep close together.
Sven-Göran Eriksson might well shake his head. A half-time interval without any substitutions. What on earth's going on? Maybe they're thinking about a change or two on the Arsenal bench, but not a great deal of warming up going on at this stage. More from Dortmund than from Arsenal. Ljungberg. Matthias Sammer, twice German Footballer of the Year, once European Footballer of the Year. Integral part of the German side that won Euro '96. No foul. Cale on Vieira. Here's Frinks. And that is an indiscretion by the Brazilian Gilberto. Heinrich, inevitably towards Koller, beaten in the air by Keogh. They do say that whilst Koller is very tall, he doesn't always jump that effectively.
No, he's got a very poor spring for a big man. You've seen both Keogh and Campbell out-jump him in this game.
Eber Nielsen, Campbell. Would be truly frightening if he could jump.
Yes, he's very much a nuisance value. He, you know, at worst he's cumbersome and not sure of himself. At his best, sometimes he can look quite a cunning passer of the ball, but no real fire for a big man and no real drive.
Across comes Madouni. Vieira wins the throw for Arsenal. Arsenal more than halfway towards a clean sheet, which is a real rarity in Champions League football for them. 15 matches since their last. Wiltord. Vieira, neat triangular play. Luzhny with time to work the cross. Too long for Bergkamp.
Well, Luzhny crossing it, Cole coming in at the back of the box. It's an illustration of Arsenal's ambition at the start of this second half, both full-backs involved.
Vieira. You fancied Arsenal at the start, David. Is that still your way of thinking?
Yes, I think patience will pay dividends. I think they have to be patient, and because there's always a danger for the Germans that as the game drifts on, they may decide to sit deeper and deeper. There were no offsides in that first half, and you know, if they sit too deep, eventually they may invite pressure.
Campbell. Metzelder. Pushed by Bergkamp. Collar. Sebastian Kehl. Dede. Fernandez nicely back to the Brazilian Dede. Two waiting to attack the cross. Well played, Keown. Evan Nielsen.
Well, he can smile, but Matthias Sammer won't be smiling. It was so careless. You know, a good 1-2 on the left, a great ball in by Dede. And it fell quite invitingly. He could have had a touch, but he decided to go for the big whack and got overexcited and got his body shape all wrong.
Nice header by Henry to Wiltor. Bergkamp's gone towards the near post. Gilberto is arriving rather later. Heinrich's header out. Vieira. Awkward bounce, and Wiltor forced to use his hand.
Definitely Wiltor playing wider in this first part of the second half. Whether Arsene will look at it shortly and decide to make some kind of a tactical change to try and force this first goal, but the early signs are that Ljungberg has dropped in a shade as opposed to playing very wide in the first half, and this half he's dropped in and Wiltor has dropped wider.
You wouldn't expect Ljungberg to last the whole game, would you?
No, I think they have people on the touchline, of course, that can come in, particularly Toure. Pires would have been nice.
Well, before long, David, I'm sure we will see him. Another few weeks. Madouni. Nice turn away from Henry. Collar pushed in the back by Keown. It's interesting, you know, Martin Keown battles on after Tony Adams has retired, despite the fact that Keown is nearly 3 months older than Adams.
Oh, he's so tall, Collar. I think Keown finished up heading his back of his shoulders. Strange, actually, that Campbell is taking the smaller striker, Everton, who's pushed quite close to Curler, and Keown, who I assume is not quite as powerful in the air as Campbell, although they're both very good. But Keown is taking the bigger man.
Henry. Ljungberg, balked by Metzelder. Referee's decision is free kick right on the edge of the penalty area. The North Bank thought that Anders Frisk had given a penalty when he pointed.
Well, I think it was an obstruction, which is a direct free kick. Of course, there is nothing in the laws for obstruction. Obstruction is now classed as a foul. In actual fact, I think Metzelder was a little bit unlucky. Certainly will be if Arsenal score.
Well, it couldn't have been closer to the edge of the penalty area. If you look at where Henry has placed the ball.
Best opportunity so far. Could be, should be, will it be?
We've got the perfect view right behind Thierry Henry. It was almost too close. Almost. Would he have preferred to be 5 yards back?
I think he'd put a little bit too much into it, a bit too much pace in it. Just wanted it to drift over the wall.
Collar. Madouni. Luzhny, Keown, important touch. He and Frings have tangled a couple of times off the ball. But it's Arsenal on the attack with Ljungberg, offside, Henry. He doth protest too much. The ball's already back in play.
Well, no argument. Once again, sharp assistant, so important these days. So many decisions are controversial and they're not the referee's decisions. He has to take the advice of the assistant, and spot on there.
Everton. Well played, Vieira. Bergkamp. He's trying to bring Sylvain Wiltord into play. It's a little awkward for Lehmann. Too much pace on the back pass for his liking. It's not the tidiest passage of play from Borussia Dortmund. Ljungberg, taken late by Ebba Nielsen. It's a very demonstrative referee, Anders Frisk.
But correct, didn't deserve a booking and he didn't get one. Have we had a yellow?
Just Dede early in the first half. Cole. Signs of hope for Arsenal since half-time. Henry with a goal disallowed for a correct offside decision. Metzelder. That was a meeting of minds and bodies, Metzelder and Vieira.
Careless challenge in the air by Metzelder.
And chipped forward by Vieira for Bergkamp.
Once again, Lehmann reading the play well, although it was a straight ball and it was pleading for him to come out and collect it. He's been ever alert.
Everton. Frings. Torsten Frings was Borussia Dortmund's only close season signing. £5.5 million from Werder Bremen.
Played 7 games in the World Cup. Looks a real plodder to me. Yet you can't argue. World Cup runner-up.
£5.6 million plodder, David. One of the real surprises that Stefan Reuter is only on the bench for Borussia Dortmund. Usually the team captain, 36 next month, veteran of the 1990 World Cup final. Trained last night, okay, and everyone expected him to be in the starting lineup, except Matthias Sammer. Wiltord, offside Henry.
No, we spoke about it at half-time, no offsides, and 3 important decisions this half gone against Arsenal, but all correct. Suggests that Dortmund are just trying to hold a little bit further up the field. Dangerous game against the Arsenal. If you leave space, Arsenal have the pace.
Heinrich. Everton. Chased by Campbell. Side netting, goal kick.
Well, maybe we don't do him credit there. Campbell smiles. But I think Everton got a little bit lucky when he took that ball. It seemed to run kindly for him. Here we see it. Went to trap the ball and got caught between his legs. And he just got the run on Campbell to put in a good cross, but he wasn't able to do so. But he had the room.
It was Everton who scored the goal that clinched the Bundesliga title. against Werder Bremen on the last day of last season. Borussia Dortmund 5 points behind Leverkusen with 3 games to play. Won it by a point. So annoyed was Bayern Munich's Franz Beckenbauer that he suggested that Leverkusen had lost the title and that Dortmund hadn't won it, they'd just been given it. Matthias Sammer wasn't too enamoured with those remarks. Henry tangling with Dede. Free kick given.
No sign of much movement from the bench. I'm sure the Borussia bench will be more than pleased. The workers in midfield are doing a good resistance job. Kale, Heinrich and Frings.
First competitive meeting between these clubs. They have played a couple of pre-season friendlies back in the mists of time, but nothing anything like as significant as this. Gilberto. It's a bit of wrestling involving Henry and Madouni.
Not the best of balls for Henry to cope with, actually, from Gilberto. Moroccan player, centre-back, Madouni.
Wiltor. Gilberto. Wiltor. Ljungberg left it for Bergkamp! Oh, yes! Explosive, exhilarating, and definitely worth the wait.
Ball came from a throw-in. Wiltord walked the ball into the middle, went for the 1-2, found a little bit of space, and then Bergkamp did a clever turn, aided by Ljungberg's little decoy run.
I think it came off Metzelder as well. There was a nick off Metzelder.
Yeah, I'm sure it got a deflection over Lehmann. Just gave Bergkamp half a yard. He just drifted it.
Just what Arsenal wanted. He's loosened some of the shackles. Now, can they keep a clean sheet? If they do, they're off to a winning start.
Well, the point is, can Borussia change their game? I just don't think they've got a creative enough midfield to engineer an opportunity, and I'm not sure if they've got enough pace in wide positions to give Kohler a chance of some headwork going on to goal.
There's one for Keown to try and guide back. Bobbled away from him, so he opted for safety. Cry from the North Bank, 1-0 to the Arsenal. We've heard that before. Wiltor came off Dede. And Dennis Bergkamp now within 2 of a century of Arsenal goals.
Just got free enough, didn't he, to have the effort at goal. He just got a clear attempt. There's Arsenal's happiness. Had to be patient, but Arsenal have scored many late goals here in European competitions where they've had to bide their time and wait for that one good opportunity.
Henry. Away by Metzelder. Foot was a little high by Luzhny on Fernandes. There is a theory, David, that you need to be in this competition 4 or 5 seasons to get to know the ropes before you can be a realistic contender. Arsenal in their 5th season, Manchester United won it at the 5th attempt. That's something that Arsene Wenger has highlighted. So do you think their know-how now is that much greater?
Well, I think it's simple, really. The more you play against quality, the more you adjust to it, the more you can cope with it, and the more in the end you can surmount it. And I think that's where Arsenal are coming from. They've got a consistently good side. They've changed players around very cleverly in the transfer market. Wenger's a master psychologist, as well as being the top British manager at the moment. A bit unfair to him that, he wouldn't like that. The top French manager in Britain at the moment. But,
he's been unusually outspoken, though, hasn't he, on this issue? And he's actually come out, Arsene Wenger, and said, we're going to win the Champions League.
Yes, so usually he's confident, but this year he's been really bullish, and I think, you know, it's part of his game. He plays these mind games, and he's put the pressure on the players this year. He's really been very strong, almost adamant that they're capable of winning, and he expects them to win it.
Forward by Dede. Collar. Gilberto, who got to it. And now Cole. Collar's holding his face in the middle of the field. And Heinrich's tackle is adjudged to be fair. Dede. It's too strong for Jörg Heinrich this time.
Those diagonals have got to go towards Kohler. I think Mr. Kohler's going to take a walk to the touchline. I think he wants a little bit of attention to his head.
Have to kneel down to help the physio out, won't he?
I think Campbell also, maybe. Has he got a problem?
Well, Ralph Frank, the Borussia Dortmund physiotherapist, being called into serious action. Not for the first time this evening. Kale. Campbell. Gilberto. Wiltor. Ljungberg. Back by Heinrich. Vieira looking... Was it Wiltor looking a little dazed after a tangle with Dede? Just on the edge of the centre circle. Collar still not ready to come back on. The cut over the right eye. Now, Henry. Dreadful, rescued by Madouni.
Yeah, dreadful kick by Lehmann there.
You okay? Arsenal bench asking Wiltor whether he's okay. Answer, there was none, so we presume he is. Arsenal started the day rated at 9-1, third favourites to win the Champions League, and they've come into 7-1 just during the course of the day. Henry, Bergkamp, Ljungberg. Not the ideal touch from Dennis Bergkamp. This was how Collar got that cut above his right eye. Clash of heads with Campbell.
No, Campbell's a tough nut.
Or Campbell has a tough nut.
Yeah, that's right.
Henry. Bergkamp. Henry's off through the middle. No one's close to him. Metzelder was in the way.
Fine defending. But it was a great spot, wasn't it, by Bergkamp? Metzelder did really well. Very good movement by Arsenal. The last 40 yards of the field, when they get possession, always got a runner. It must be a heaven for Bergkamp to play in this team.
It's also fairly heavenly for some of the rest to play with him. This Arsenal team on a domestic front at least, breaking records on a weekly basis. Gilberto. Wiltor. Luzhny. Bergkamp. Metzelder. Ljungberg was in behind him. And now Collar. Lost it very tamely to Vieira. Wiltor. More activity on the Dortmund bench now. 20 minutes to play. It's not going to be long before we see, I think, probably a double change. Vieira, the playmaker of German and Italian parentage, one of those being prepared to come on. Frings. Dede. Evan Nielsen. Fernandes. It's Borussia Dortmund's throw. Clearly missing the playmaking skills of Rosicky. Fernandes. Good header out by Campbell. Misjudgment by Oleg Luzhny. Little bit of time now for Heinrich. Decisive header away by Keown. Keown again. (1-0) satisfactory for Arsenal. 2-0 would be comfortable. Doubt always remains. Here's Heinrich. Blocked by Keown. Dortmund seeing more of the ball than for a little while now. Arsenal, though, escape. Henry straight offside. Ljungberg isn't, though. And Henry is waiting for the cross in the middle. Needs to stay behind Ljungberg. Oh, selfish. Should he have pulled it back?
Well, it would have been very interesting because Ljungberg would have gone through and it would have hit the keeper and come back, and just say Henry would have scored. Henry was way offside in a secondary position. There you see it. When Ljungberg goes through, I think it was very close indeed. Ljungberg himself might have been offside, but Henry certainly was, and so Ljungberg had to go alone.
Well, here comes Reina. Fernandes going off. And we're also going to see Heiko Herrlich, who's one of 4 players in the Dortmund squad who played in the 1997 final. He was a substitute in that game, the victory over Juventus in Munich. He's a striker. He's been with the club for the best part of 8 years now, Herrlich.
Immediately comes on and duplicates Kohler's role. Both going for the same ball.
So Reina taking up a position wide on the left. Racing now with Luzhny, who had a couple of yards start. Siemens' clearance is straight to Torsten Frings. Heinrich wants it on the near side. Evan Nielsen. Koller. Oh, given away by Gilberto. More pressure for Arsenal to absorb. Not for long. Now Arsenal's turn. And the surprise is that it's not Ljungberg going off, it's Oleg Luzhny, and Lauren will replace him. So Ljungberg's lasting the pace fairly well. In fact, he's in earnest conversation with his fellow countryman, the referee Anders Frisk. I think Frisk was saying to him, how much longer are you going to last?
Well, it's a good fitness exercise. He's 1-0 up. Probably if the result was the other way round, he might have been sacrificed.
Straight swap by Arsenal, though. Lauren for Luzhny at right back. And there's the goal scorer, Dennis Bergkamp, with the aid of a deflection off Christoph Metzelder. Koller. Frings denied by Gilberto. Heinrich. Evan Nielsen.
Very poor ball that by Madoni. Been a determined defender tonight, but accurate distribution I don't think is the highest of his qualities.
Matthias Sammer there, voted second in the Coach of the Year poll in Germany, behind Klaus Toppmöller of Bayer Leverkusen. Poor old Rudy Fuller, who took the national team to within striking distance of winning the World Cup, was only third. The 1,300 Dortmund supporters rather quiet at the moment. Given away by Koller to Gilberto. Ljungberg. Frings. Evan Nielsen. Lauren. First chance for him to stride forward. Just back from knee trouble. Keown. Henry. Vieira. This is nice from Arsenal. And here's Henry. And there was the chance to seal the game.
Precise, clean, quick passing. Henry on the end of it. Just can't sweep the ball in, and Wenger knows and claps and responds to a very good piece of play. Lovely layoff and the spin of Henry, the quick ball of Vieira, and then the wonderful ball in. Could have been a picture goal.
Offside given against Henry. On historical note, 65 years ago yesterday, this Highbury Stadium hosted the first ever live televised football match anywhere in the world. A thriller between Arsenal and Arsenal reserves. That's where it all started. Keown. Arsenal failing to clear until a decisive intervention from Gilberto.
Lauren was just caught then. Bit rusty. I don't know what he was really trying to do. Was he trying to keep the ball in? Gilberto to the rescue.
Well, with Herrlich in there, and Madouni and Koller, there's a fair bit of aerial ability in the Dortmund team. This wasn't really called into play. That's a good throw out by Seaman to Wiltor. Ljungberg jogging, Henry sprinting. Lovely cushion touch. Ljungberg, gaping net, 2-0. And Freddie Ljungberg is back with a bang.
Well, Ljungberg will take the credit for the goal, but it was a wonderful throw out by David Seaman. He caught the ball cleanly, he saw the break, he threw it fast, and then the setup was for Ljungberg to crown a good return for him this evening. Took it cleanly, Lehmann had no chance, he started to calm, he hesitated, he knew he couldn't get there.
Borussia Dortmund will regard it as a soft goal to concede. What quick thinking by David Seaman. Heinrich. Koller. Offside flag is up. Ljungberg benefiting after David Seaman had set up the chance, bowling it out to Wiltor. And from there on in, clinical and simple.
Super ball by Henry too, of course. Wasn't best balance as received the ball from Wiltord, but there's the joy of a man who knows that his quick thinking has crowned the game for Arsenal.
And from the moment that David Seaman released the ball, it took 13 seconds for it to enter the net at the North Bank end of the ground. Dispatched by that man, Freddie Ljungberg. And helped notably by Thierry Henry on its way downfield. Koller. In quickly was Campbell. Referee did not like the challenge. Nor did Koller.
Well, it's Koller that's got the free kick. He certainly touched the ball first there. It was a big slide. Was it Campbell in there?
Yes.
Might give Koller a little bit of a wake-up call. I hope he's not the butt of my commentary, but I've seen him so many times, John, and he disappoints me so many times.
Frings available, Dede and Heinrich. Struck disappointingly by Torsten Frings.
There's a good distance out. I think it's fair to say that David Seaman had it perfectly covered.
Makes such a difference, the second goal. He wanted a winning start. He's been very bold in his statements, saying that Arsenal are going to win the Champions League. And whilst you can make no judgments from an opening home game in a stadium where Arsenal almost always win in Europe, it is a good pointer. Whilst Borussia Dortmund have yet to essay a shot on target. Dede. Awkward for Cole. Come out to Heiko Herrlich. Eber Nielsen. Maybe Arsenal with power to add. Bergkamp lofted. Henry. Gilberto in the middle. Real test for Arsenal. One suspects David will come away from home, where their record is so poor in this Champions League, but the way they're playing their cavalier football, it seems inconceivable that their away results won't improve.
Well, they're a perfect away side. I mean, last year in the league, that was the strange thing. They weren't beaten, were they, away from home, because they had such pace on the counter-attack. They could resist the pressure. They could cope with people coming at them and then break.
Eber Nielsen. Too long. Lauren took no chances, even though there was no one behind him. Corner.
I'm quite sure that if Campbell and Keown can keep fit, and the centre midfield now, they've got this holding player Gilberto, and with the pace they've got up front, they're ideally made for away football.
Forward plods Madouni. More in hope than expectation by the looks of it. Still, you never know. Came off Vieira, another corner. And there have been a few two-goal leads lost in the Premiership just recently. Borussia Dortmund well ahead on the corner count. Frings to swing this in. Koller near post, rather hemming Seaman in. Their third corner in succession given away by Gilberto. And Koller hasn't really been a factor in the two previous corner kicks. I suppose his presence is enough to concern Arsenal. He's dropped a little deeper this time. Herrlich. Referee's given another corner. Well, Dortmund should be getting good at this by now.
They've got enough physical presence in there. Whether they can force the issue, if Arsenal get anything away on the edge of the box, Borussia have got it ringed.
And they haven't picked up Dede. And it didn't really matter.
The two Brazilians on the edge of the box, Dede and Evan Nilsson. But rather an anemic ball in.
It's just a question mark over a possible offside when Henry played the ball to Ljungberg, and if you look at the cut of the grass, Borussia Dortmund do have a case.
Well, I think from this angle it's very difficult to tell, and we know that this season they're going to favour the attacker if it's that close.
He's done very well to last 84 minutes. And Pascal Sigon makes his first Highbury appearance, signed from Lille in the summer. He's not really a left-sided midfield player, but that's where he's been put. Centre-back by trade. Still no huge urgency about Borussia Dortmund's approach. Still, if they get lucky now, there is time remaining for them to rescue the game. And then there would be some urgency, believe you me. Frings. Good header away by Keown.
He smelt the danger there, Keown. It was a lovely little back flicked header. Knew exactly what he was doing.
6 in the box for Dortmund. Dealt with by Vieira, consummately. Dede turns away from trouble. Frings, Keown, who's won a great deal in the air. Evan Nielsen. Good reactions by Seaman because he's been underemployed. Apart from creating goals, he's not had to stop many.
No, I think that's his first serious stop, and that was from 25 yards and a little bit speculative. Evan Nielsen.
.39 in a couple of days' time, David Seaman. And tonight making his 529th appearance in the colours of Arsenal, which puts him above Pat Rice, the assistant manager, in 6th place on the all-time list. Arsenal's ball. Last time Arsenal managed a clean sheet in a Champions League game was against Spartak Moscow on this ground 2 years ago. 15 matches since then, in which they've conceded at least one on every occasion. Cole. Bergkamp. Hellich. Goes out of play, it's Arsenal's throw. Arsenal, who go to PSV Eindhoven next week, and Auxerre in France on match day 3. Kale. Dortmund's free kick. Heinrich. Too long for Collar. And Campbell guarding the far post when it was turned back across by Rayner.
It was a fabulous ball back, and it was a good cross too.
One at the near post, one in front of Seaman, 4 further out. None of them called into play. Henry up against Evan Nielsen. Offside Collar. And Kolo Touré is going to come on for Arsenal. It'll be his debut in the Champions League. Captain of the Ivory Coast, and replacing a player who for once hasn't scored tonight, Sylvain Wiltord, but he's played his part. You see much of Touré this season?
No, I haven't. This is my first look at Arsenal this season as well, so Touré is a little bit of an unknown quantity, will be to many people, so he'll be an interesting player to look at.
His first contribution is a neat back heel. Gilberto. Vieira. Gilberto. Sigon. Bergkamp battling for it. Up against Metzelder, off whom Bergkamp's shot was deflected for Arsenal's important first goal.
Yeah, battled well, Metzelder, at the heart of the defence.
Happy night at Highbury. They've come to expect victories, and they're getting plenty of them. Arsenal's last defeat in any competition at Juventus on March the 20th. 17 wins if you include this, and 2 draws since then.
Arsenal buying the seconds now as we drift to the end. They'll be more than happy, more than comfortable with the way they've played.
And here's Toure, maybe power to add. He has, in the words of his manager Arsene Wenger, boundless energy and enthusiasm to match. And the crowd love him. Herrlich. Your analysis of the performance overall, David?
Well, I think it's been competent. I think at times they've shown their terrific pace that worry the Germans. The Germans haven't shown enough sparkle for me, not enough invention or real initiative to make efforts at goal. They haven't really troubled David Seaman. I think Arsenal were patient. They kept calm and they waited their opportunity. And the second goal was a classic Arsenal counter-attack initiated by Seaman. I think they'll be more than happy. I don't think they've been massively tested tonight, but I think they've been thoroughly competent.
Kale. In for Collar, who's attracted the attentions of the referee's assistant, and in frustration has blasted the ball into the clock end. We were promised 3 extra minutes, and we've had them. And Arsenal have more than done enough. Arsenal off to just the start that they wanted. A winning one. A brief, cursory handshake between Messrs Wenger and Sammer. Freddie Ljungberg back with a goal, and Arsenal playing the better football, the more incisive football. They responded well after a fairly even first half, and Dennis Bergkamp got them moving after 61 minutes with a shot that deflected in, looping over Lehmann off Metzelder. That broke the ice, and then Seaman to Wiltord to Henry, and 13 seconds later Freddie Ljungberg made it decisively 2-0 to the Gunners. Arsenal off to a victorious start at Highbury, all they could have asked for. Now they need to prove they can win away as well. Barry Venison and Robbie Earle with their views to come shortly, but a happy Highbury with a full-time score of Arsenal 2, Borussia Dortmund 0.
Arsenal comfortable 2-0 winners here at Highbury tonight, and what a comeback for Freddie Ljungberg. He's talking now with Gabriel Clark.
Freddie, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
How was it for you?
I was delighted we won 2-0 in a game we knew would be very difficult.
Did you expect to play? It was a surprise to some. Was it a surprise to you?
Yeah, there's always some mind games going on, but of course I've just trained a week and I haven't played, even been a sub yet, so of course it was a bit of a surprise to play from the beginning, but felt okay.
How did you find it? You didn't look tired, especially for that goal. An incredible run.
I mean, when you, in the end of a game, you can run as much, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're tired, but maybe before the game I thought maybe I would last 60 minutes or something, but I lasted a little bit longer, so it was okay.
Absolutely, there you are in the final minutes or so, scoring a wonderful goal. What did that goal mean to you? I imagine it's been a tough time for you, not playing and being injured and fighting your way back.
Yeah, I mean, I was delighted. I mean, many people that haven't really known what I've done with my hip operation said like it was career-threatening and stuff like that, so it was nice for me to show that I still can play football.
We counted it as 13 seconds by the time David Seaman threw the ball to the time you knocked it in the net. Some break at pace.
Yeah, I mean, it's just thanks Silva, he takes the ball up quickly and then Henry makes it quick and just roll the ball in the net.
Great start. Now sort out that away form, I suppose.
Yeah, we have to work on that, and if we can just keep on playing like we did today, away from home, hope we can get some points.
Pleased to be back?
Very much so.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Barry, we've always known there's been nothing wrong with their home form and a much better second half display.
Yeah, I think the passing was slicker. I think there's more urgency, and I think we saw flashes of the players who can change the games. People like Bergkamp, people like Henry, Wiltord, Freddie Ljungberg, who was phenomenal. His energy is incredible. Doesn't run back much, mind you, but incredible for him to come from where he was, one reserve game, the fitness regime he's obviously gone through, to stand up to that 70-odd minutes of top-class Pearson runs. He must have made 12 to 15 Pearson runs. Incredible.
Did you feel it was only a matter of time before Arsenal were going to get the breakthrough?
I always thought Arsenal were the more creative. I just thought they had more on the bank than Dortmund in terms of creative players on the field. And then we got the opportunity, good interplay around the edge of the box, good movement into Bergkamp, and a great little run by Freddie Ljungberg, which just allowed Dennis Bergkamp that vital yard. He only needs half a yard, and a little run across there just give him that yard that he needed to bend it in the top corner. Dennis Bergkamp from 18 yards out with a goal in front of him, you'd fancy him. This is the ball in, and that's the run. 21 Metzelder just dragged away, a little deflection, a little bit of luck. Arsenal deserved it.
Little bit of a deflection, but
yeah, you'll take that. Yeah, for sure.
Freddie was, as Barry said, sensational. I mean, a first game back to perform like that.
It's a testament to the way he's worked, and there's nothing worse when you're injured, Angus, because it's a lot of hard work, a lot of running on your own and weight training and all those things that you hate, but I'll tell you what, it's all worth it when you play like he did
tonight. But to come out and play 80 minutes.
Oh, it's fantastic, and the way that, you know, he took his goal as well, you know, it was one of them where, you know, you've been out a long while, a little bit rusty, but you almost knew it was coming.
13 seconds, start to finish.
Yeah, what impresses me so much about this goal, not only in the way that it's constructed, but you know, as soon as David Seaman gets the ball, this whole team realises an opportunity. That's why you get that number of people bombing forward. It's a great one-touch passing, Henry into Ljungberg, and as you said, it's almost like he's never been away, Freddie. We've seen him do it a number of times last season.
Possible offside, though?
Hint of offside, let's say,
yes.
Referee assistant got it. Okay.
Okay, given the benefit of the doubt.
This is 13 seconds.
But the Germans, they're chasing shadows.
We talked about it earlier in the day. You know, if they get the ball at the back and get that slick passing going, they break through you.
That's full pace, which the linesman saw.
They're not goal, and
Freddie Ljungberg, he's made up a lot of ground, but it's not just power running directly through. He's checked his run, he's dived in, lost his marker, the guy who's likely to pick him up, and then he's dived back in there, and he's alive for the next one through. I mean, that's real clever. When you're playing high energy and switched on like that, it's phenomenal.
But he did it all night, didn't he? He could have scored before that.
He kept going, he keeps making runs, and that's the ability that he has. He affects people around him. We'll see, you know, as the play builds up. He's almost, for me, like a third striker. He's got great instincts, times his run perfectly. I think he's worried a little bit whether Henry's onside or offside. And I'll tell you what as well, he's got a striker's greed. He ain't looking to pass too much. He'll slam him across the goal. He wants to get his goals. And I like that in a midfield player, someone like myself who, you know, you get there, you do 60, 70 yard runs.
Robbie's just said,
I'm going to shoot.
Me and Freddie, somebody like myself.
I was trying to get a link and I thought you might get it.
You won't live that one down, Robbie. What about Henry, who almost scored? It was like the end of a training ground move, wasn't it?
Well, this is what, if you put this on in the training ground, you say it to the boys who are defending, look, you're not trying hard enough, this has gone too easy. Lovely ball in from Martin Keown, slickly off again, back out wide, and then Wasdin, great ball across.
Should score.
And he should. And you fancy him to score a decent surface on it. He just didn't wrap his foot round it enough, did he?
It's almost passing by numbers, I call it. You can almost see where the next pass is going to be. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and it should have been in the back of the net. But, you know, he's obviously cherry on me, saving them for another day when they're more necessary.
Perfect stuff, almost. OK, let's have a check on all the other results from tonight. The other game in Group A, Auxerre 0, PSV Eindhoven 0, which is good news, of course, for Arsenal. Group B, Valencia have beaten Liverpool by 2-0. Highlights coming up. Bâle 2, Spartak Moscow 0. Could be an important result. Group C, Genk 0, AEK Athens 0, and Real Madrid have beaten Roma by 3-0. 2 goals for Guti and 1 for Raul. Finally, in Group D, it finished Rosenborg 2, Inter Milan 2, and Ajax 2, Lyon 1. Right, we are going to take a break, but coming up after this short pause, the highlights of Valencia against Liverpool. Arsenal have run out 2-0 victors here at home to Borussia Dortmund. Not such a good night, though, for Liverpool in Spain. Commentary of their match now comes from Clive Tilsley and Ron Atkinson.
Torres, Albelda, Aymar, on by Baraka, terrific move, wonderful goal, Pablo Aymar. It has been coming. Pinball passing from Valencia, opening Liverpool up, and Pablo Aymar, the Argentine World Cup international, strikes with less than 20 minutes gone. Marvellous goal. On towards Heskey. He's got there ahead of Pellegrino. Canizares committed. Emil Heskey hit the post and came out. So unlucky. First sign of real cutting edge about a Liverpool attack. First sign of hesitation in the Valencia defence, and Emil Heskey denied only by the goalpost. Here is Carew into the path of Baraka. 2-0. Ruben Baraka doubles Valencia's lead. A pile of joy in the back of the Liverpool net, joining the ball that Baraka placed there with such conviction a moment ago.
I've got a feeling that Liverpool had enough midfield players in it and have slept in when Baraka's made his break. I just looked down, took a quick scan of it. Gerrard was in there, Haman was in there, Risa wasn't far away, and very little reaction.
Kuro Torres to Rafetti. In towards Carew! Wasn't very far away either. Haman with that early free kick. Comes off Owen, might come for Sheru. Good save by Canizares. Really good save. He sent his little flick. Head up by Carragher. Aymar. Putting across Carragher. Buying some space. Feeding Ruben Baraka. Good save. Good hit that time by Baraka.
Once again, beautiful approach play, nice little play down the left-hand side, Vicente, Aymar, and then setting up and Baraka.
Haman getting all tangled up with Lister. Oh, not a yellow card for Haman, he's already had one, he's off.
Not a great night for Liverpool.
No, they looked a bit vulnerable at times, didn't they? Didi Hamann just knocked off for the first goal, and the first goal, as we know, in European football is vitally important, especially when a team like Valencia, any kind of weakness, any kind of lack of concentration, they can expose you. Players like Aymar, class finishing, clinical finishing. Forget it now. It's done. It's finished. They've only got to go there once. It's now at home next week to Bâle.
Crumb of comfort, though. Lots of sides will go there and come away with nothing.
Yeah. Although that won't really make Gerald Houllier feel any better. I mean, teams are getting through Liverpool a little bit too easily, I feel, especially this year. You know, Their success in Europe was based around a solid back four, and then they counter-attacked. I know Liverpool didn't like that, but that was what was best for them, and I think that's what they've got to get back to.
But then left out Michael Owen again.
Yeah, I really can't work out. Obviously, he came on and played a little part in the game later on, and I'd had a chance of a penalty possibly, but I don't understand the thinking there. I can only think that Michael has gone through such a low ebb, either physically or mentally or both. That's why he doesn't want to start me. He wants to give him a chance to rest. He might explode at Anfield next week, let's hope so.
I do. So a poor start for Liverpool and a man sent off as well. But everything is going according to plan for Arsene Wenger. He's talking now to Gabriel Clark.
Arsene, you got there in the end. An important win, a deserved win?
I believe so, yes. We were patient, and I think we have shown a lot of maturity, and we've seen that the team has learned a lot. And overall, I think we created 3-4 good chances in the first half and as well in the second half. Looked always like scoring. Of course, it was the case of not conceding a stupid goal, and then I always felt we will win it.
Dennis Bergkamp did something that was difficult tonight. He found just that bit of space.
Yes, they didn't give us any space away, but overall, I think they were highly concentrated on defending well and wanted to keep a clean sheet, and we needed to find that little bit of class, of space, short passing around the box to score a goal.
We counted it as 13 seconds from the time David Seaman threw the ball, collected the ball, to the time it ended up in the Dortmund net through Freddie Lundberg. That was some break.
Well, that's a little bit our speciality, I would say. And
well, even that quickly?
No, that quickly, yes, why not? But you know that we can always score goals with the pace we have on the pitch, but of course it needs as well not only running but perfect passing, and with the quality, outstanding quality of the players on the pitch, we can do that.
You went with Freddie Lundberg tonight. Was that a risk?
Well, yes, but in fairness, he worked so hard with our fitness coach Tony Colbert for a long time, and he was ready physically. So the only gamble was how would he be in the game, and knowing the motivation of Freddie, he's always ready to play.
The secret is out. Freddie was ready.
Oh, Freddie was well ready, by the way. Ever ready, battering up and down like a yo-yo. Fantastic. They've got a great balance, Arsenal. They've got real patience where they need to be. Keown was outstanding, by the way, at the back. But they've got that patience, they've got the ability just to plug away. If things aren't going particularly slickly, they've got those lock pickers that we talked about, that little bit of class in there that Arsene Wenger is referring to. And you can't knock off at any time during the game, because Bergkamp will make you pay, Thierry Henry will make you pay, or Freddie Lundberg will make you pay.
They'll be confident after tonight, but they go away. They've got to get rid of this hoodoo about going away. It's Eindhoven next.
They almost need to go away, and whatever else happens, keep a clean sheet. If they come away with a 0-0, at least that's it.
That's the point. I mean, we saw earlier it took them 5 goes.
Of all the times they get beat away, they always have leaked the odd goal, and that's killed them. You know, clean sheets away from home, because as you've seen tonight, there's enough people in that attack who are going to get you goals.
But is this a better side than it's ever been here?
I think it's a better side. I mean, look at Chipman physically, but I think it's a better side mentally, because they've got so much confidence. Arsene Wenger has come out and said they're going to win the Premier League. He's come out and said they're going to win.
That's some claim, isn't it?
They're going to win
the Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to finish above Manchester United in the Premiership and above Real Madrid. That's confidence.
A lot of confidence. Robbie, Barry, thank you both very much indeed. Plenty more Champions League action coming your way tomorrow night. Manchester United are in action at Old Trafford against Maccabi Haifa. That's live on this channel, ITV2, starting at 7 o'clock. Then it's Dynamo Kiev and Newcastle United if you want to watch on the ITN News channel. If you've missed anything tonight, highlights on ITV1 at 11:45. Arsenal have started how they mean to go on with a win. 13 seconds is all it took to wrap up the game. Freddie is back.
This program was sponsored by Ford and PlayStation 2, UEFA Champions League sponsors.
Right, there's been no homophobic comments made, and as far as I'm concerned, we've been intrigued and supportive of about his sexuality.